Hell yeah.
You look like
you ain't seen that one? There's fucking what's his name? The dude with the one eye half closed.
Oh, you talking about Forrest Whitaker?
Forrest Whitaker, huh? Talking about it's Forrest Whitaker. It's like this. Talking about that's what happens. That's what you look like when you take Dayquil and NyQuil at the same time.
Look how I just folded. That look like a foreskin. How you had to have a foreskin on it?
Damn. You should have been recording already. Fuck
I am, bro. Look at What's going on? What's going on? Late night family. We back in the building.
You know it, boy.
Coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew, and to my left is my co-host.
Big Unc, JR.
Big Unc with the deuce. What's up, Big Unc? What's going on with you, Big Unc?
Hip hop.
I feel cold as hell.
I was jamming to nothing but old school at work today.
Ah, hell yeah.
Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay.
LL Cool J.
Okay.
2 Live Crew. You know.
Yeah.
So I was bumping it at work.
So you was lit today.
I was trying to stay warm, dog. It was cold. And this West Texas weather don't know what to do, man.
I hate this cold weather, bro. I hate it with a passion.
Man.
I was telling my woman the other day, it was just this morning, I think. I said, dude, I think sometimes I like the cold weather, but my body for sure hates it.
I know mine does, bro.
Knees and back and bones just be
It
sore.
just doesn't know what to do, man. My body's like, my knees want to walk, but my heart said let's walk. My knees said we're not. You know.
Then you find out your body tells you.
You're lying, bro. I'm hoping this is the last 3 days of a cold weather. I'm sure we're gonna have some cold weather, but
yeah.
-3 this morning, dog.
Nah, I'm good
Wind
on
chill.
that.
And snow?
I'm good on that.
Man.
We can, they can have that back.
Yeah.
I got an exciting episode for today, man. It's going to be awesome. We got a true crime story. But before we jump into that true crime, I just want to tell y'all, wherever y'all get y'all's podcasts on, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast from, man, if y'all just hit that follow button for us, man. If y'all enjoy the content today, man, hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, man, hit that subscribe button and punch that bell in the face so you get notified every time we post, and we do post every Friday at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into this story I got for today, because it's a long one. I ain't gonna lie. It's a good one, too. So, as you know, horror movies.
Right.
Horror movies are a staple of a lot of our households, man. Some of us love horror movies. Some like drama. Some like action. Some like rom-coms. I'm like a rom-com. Yeah, you a rom-com guy.
I do. I like horror too, man. I like drama, man. But rom-coms, I got daughters, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
See, and I got a daughter too, so I might start liking them more.
She's a baby still. Wait till she gets older, you know.
So, with horror being a staple in many households, and a lot of people love horror, today I got a classic story for y'all. It's actually the chilling tale behind why the Scream movies were made. You know the Scream movies,
Right.
Yeah, the Ghostface killer.
Oh yeah.
This is the man that is actually responsible for the making of Scream movies. So without further ado, let's jump into today's story.
Let's go. I want to hear it.
Today's story is the Gainesville Ripper.
The Gainesville. All right.
Gainesville Ripper.
All right.
August 26th, 1990, Frank and Patricia Powell pulled into an apartment complex in Gainesville, Florida. Gainesville, Florida is a really nice town in Florida, bro.
Right.
It's home to the University of Florida.
Okay.
Which is, that's pretty much the biggest college in that area. And, they're known for their big football team, And also, bro, Gainesville, Florida, like
you're talking about the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that entire university and scene of Gainesville was actually a big party scene during the 1990s.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big party scene, all the students. There's so many students there, you know what I mean? So, that was actually the university that the daughter of Frank and Patricia was actually going to be a first-year freshman at.
Okay.
So, she was super excited. Her whole family was thrilled, man. She was going to college. her dad was so excited and happy for her that he actually he got her a golden alligator necklace.
Okay.
It was a logo of the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
He got her a necklace. And, everybody was super excited. So 2 days before the parents arrived, Christine and her new roommate, Sonia Larson, had already took off to Florida and got moved in.
Right.
So that was 2 days before Frank and Patricia drove up. They had already drove up, moved in, got all their stuff there or whatever. So after moving in, they decided to go grab a bite to eat. And immediately after Christine and Sonia got done eating, she went and called their parents from a payphone.
Okay.
Because, back in the 90s, there wasn't no cell, It was rare that people had cell phones.
I don't even know a payphone what looks like I do.
Hell yeah, we used to have them at the Ossops.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I still remember the payphones.
Okay.
So, she called her parents from a payphone and let them know, look, she was settled in, they were having a great time, and she was so ready to see them. And she also said she would call them the next day, but that call never came. So, their parents were a little nervous, hey, my daughter didn't call. But they were like, but they were like, well, maybe she got busy with friends, and she also, they were planning to make a trip Sunday anyways.
Right.
So they were like, man, we'll see her, Sunday. So no call Saturday. So here comes Sunday morning. They still had no call. And so they said, no problem. We're making the trip up there. So they head up there. They pull into the complex, and they just kind of look at each other like, man, let's go in, let's see our daughter. They're excited.
Right. To the dorm.
Into the complex they're staying at.
Oh, the complex.
Yeah, it's an apartment complex. Okay. So they go up the stairs. They get to the door, and on the door they notice a bunch of sticky notes plastered on the door, and it was notes like saying, "Hey, sorry we missed y'all, girls. We're gonna be getting together later on tonight. Please give us a call so we know that y'all are gonna come hang out."
Who were they from?
For her friends.
Oh,
and
just
stuff
friends.
like that. Yeah,
not her friends' parents or nothing like that.
No. It was just friends. And so, they start seeing all these sticky notes, and they kind of get. They're not. I guess they're worried, but they're like, "Man, that's weird. Nobody can get a hold of them." Right. So they start knocking on the door. There's no answer. So they actually go out from the hallway. They find a maintenance manager who's kind of patrolling the lot.
Right. They
get with the maintenance manager, and they're like, "Hey, our daughter hasn't called us. We're here to see her. She's not answering. There's a lot of notes on the door. Is there any way you can let us into the apartment just to make sure she's okay?" So the maintenance manager is like, "I have to get with my actual manager."
Right, before I
can open the door. So they get with the manager, and the manager says, "Look, since y'all are looking for y'all's daughter, nobody gets hold of them. We need to call the police. They have to escort us in."
Okay.
And so they get a hold of the police. They tell the parents, "Hey, wait outside. We're gonna go inside, just check on them.
Just in case.
We'll call y'all when we need y'all." So the police and the maintenance worker both go up the stairs. They go into the room. They open the door. They walk into the apartment, they look around, and they see a couch in front of a TV. So as they get closer to the couch, they look over the couch and they find Christine on the floor. She's naked, she's on the ground in front of the couch, stabbed to death, and whoever killed her placed her body in like a suggestive sexual way. Some type of suggestive sexual way. So immediately, they search the rest of the apartment. They find Sonia. She's on her bed, stabbed to death. She's naked as well. And she's also placed on the side of her bed in a sexual position.
That's crazy.
And it was determined that Christine was sexually assaulted, but Sonia wasn't. Okay. So immediately seeing all this, the maintenance worker I guess he can't take it. So he runs outside. He starts vomiting outside on the floor. Well, the parents are right there. They're like, what the hell?
Right.
So they rush in, and the police try to stop them, but they can't stop them. They rush through the door. They find their daughter on the floor, and, of course, they lose it. You know what I'm saying? So they started investigating, and they discovered on the door frame, like the forensic team, they noticed that there was screwdriver-like markings on the screwdriver that looked like on the door frame from a screwdriver.
Oh, like they were just
like if it was using to pop it open. And so they found a towel and some soap laying next to the body of Christine. So it looked like whoever killed her tried to clean her body. And they also found duct tape residue on her wrist, but there was no duct tape on her wrist. So it looked like the killer taped them and then took them off. So seeing all these things, the police automatically assumed that this attack doesn't look like it was just a wild attack. It looked very calculated. The man tried to clean the body, or the woman, whoever it is. They tried to clean the body. So the police they know that this is a calculated attack.
Right.
And since classes were starting the next day on that Monday, the police sent out a bulletin to the news to please make the student and town residents aware to stay indoors, stay in groups after dark if you have to go out until the killer is caught.
Okay.
Just kind of giving a notice out to the kids. 12 hours before Sonia and Christine were found, an 18-year-old Christina Hoyt didn't show up for work in the morning. This one's crazy, huh? This woman was a Santa Fe Community College student, and she was actually going to transfer to the University of Florida.
Right.
After graduation, she wanted to pursue a role in forensics. So she got a part-time job at the sheriff's office in the record-keeping department.
Right.
And she was famous for showing up to work. It didn't matter what it was.
Whatever it took, she was there.
Rain, sneeze, slow. It don't matter what it was. She's showing up to work. There was even an instance where one of the workers were praising her about she had got her wisdom teeth removed. And she went home for an hour, and within that hour, she went back to work. What? As soon as the anesthesia wore off. She showed up to work.
Dedicated.
Super dedicated. So the sheriffs at the office were really concerned when she didn't show up for work that morning, because that wasn't like her to no-call, no-show.
Right. Had to have been something outrageous for her not to show up.
Yeah, exactly. And so they waited for an hour, and she never showed up. So in the morning, they called for a welfare check the next morning.
Okay.
Because she was supposed to show up, and she didn't show up again, so they called for a welfare check. Yeah. And they go, and the officers get no answer after knocking. So they walk to the back, they see a glass sliding door, and they look under where the curtains just didn't fully come to the bottom.
Right.
You know, it was kind of a gap. Well, through what they could see into Christina's home, and they can see Christine sitting on the edge of the bed, and she was naked with stab wounds all on her back.
So they could see all that through the
They could see that through the gap. Like
okay.
They could see into where she was a bed, and they could see her body there.
Okay.
And it looked like she was hunched over, stab wounds all over her back, and her head was fully decapitated.
Oh, Lord.
They found her head when they finally got in and you know, doing investigating. They actually found her head on a shelf next to the bed where she was laying slouched over. And the head was positioned like if it was looking down at the body.
At her own body? Oh.
And her body was on the edge of the bed in a sexually suggestive way. So, man.
That is crazy right there.
During investigation, they also found the same markings on the door that looked like from a screwdriver. And they also found duct tape on her wrist, the residue, but no duct tape.
So we're looking at a serial killer.
So now we're looking at similar crimes, right? Okay. So the news starts reporting about both crime scenes. And they were only 2 miles apart. So, I mean, with them being so closely, you know, together, they're really thinking these murders are connected.
Right.
They put officers that night on foot patrolling all night Sunday night. And there was tons of officers walking the streets, walking around the complexes. Just, they wanted a presence to be known that the police are out here and we're going to prevent another attack.
Right.
Sadly, it didn't work. So Monday morning, you know, this went from a local story to a national news. Okay. I mean, this was starting to get national attention.
Right.
Now it's being broadcasted everywhere. And there was one woman named Lisa Byers. She didn't live in Gainesville, but she had a very close friend named Tracy Paulus. She had taken a couple years off from college, and this year she had decided to go back and give it another go. Yeah, Tracy Paulus.
Okay.
Yeah, so this woman, Lisa, gave Tracy a call and asked her, hey, you know, how you doing? How you holding up?
What's going on, dude?
I know there's a killer in the area. Like, are you safe? You know, them kinds of things.
Right.
And Tracy told her, man, she thought it was crazy about everything that's going on. And she is a little scared like everybody else.
Of course.
But she said that she wasn't as worried because she had a roommate there to try to keep her safe. She had a male roommate. His name was Manny Tabota. So he was a big, strong, former football player. They weren't romantically involved or nothing. They were just
roommates.
Really good friends.
Okay.
Apparently, Tracy had actually convinced him to go back to college with her because he had the same story. He went to college, took some time off, and she said,
Never went back.
I'm going back. So, hey, you come with me and we can room together and go to college together. Right. So he agreed. So they were living together. So Lisa told Tracy, look, please give me a call later on tonight when you get home from your classes so I know you're okay. Just keep calling me until this killer's caught.
Right.
So she said she would, and they hung up. Well, later that night, Tracy never called Lisa.
Wow.
She tried calling her, but no one answered. So she went to bed Sunday night, still worried. But in the morning, she tried calling again, and no one would pick up. So now she's like, man, I don't know, something's not right.
I think I would have called the police that night before because, hey, look, my roommate said she's going to call me. I know what's going on. I would have done that, but,
Yeah, and I think in her gut, she has a weird feeling like, man, something ain't right. So she actually called a mutual friend of her and Tracy. He actually lived in the same complex as her, and his name was Tommy. So she explained the situation, said, look, she's not answering. Would you please just go to the apartment and check on Tracy and Manny and make sure they're okay? He said, cool, yeah. He's like, I'll go check on them, and when I get there, I'll give you a call from Tracy's landline to let you know I'm here, whatever I find. So she waited about maybe 5 minutes, and she gets a call from Tracy's phone. And it was Tommy, and he was just screaming into the phone.
Oh,
he was just yelling. So when the cops got there, they found Tracy laying on the side of her bed in a sexually suggestive way. And it looks like, just like the others, she was naked, sexually assaulted, and she was stabbed to death.
But not decapitated.
So, not decapitated. Okay. She was just, just how, I guess like the other girls.
Like the other one, yeah.
So, along the lines of that house, they also found, Manny in his room, on his bed, stabbed to death. He was fully clothed and wasn't positioned like the girls.
So it's women, sexualized by women.
Yeah, he's not targeting men.
Right.
He just looks.
He happened just been
to
there.
The cops. It looks like he just happened to be there and was in the way, and got killed as well. Okay. So the forensics team found the same markings on the door again, like it was a screwdriver. They also found duct tape residue on her wrist, but no duct tape. So now it's apparent for sure the police are dealing with a serial killer. So the town, bro, of Gainesville is now in a frenzy.
I can imagine.
It's because they seem like there's nothing to stop this killer.
Right.
They already had a bunch of policemen patrolling on foot,
but
not
I'm
all
sure
night.
The town is very huge,
Yeah,
town.
of course. But these murders are happening within a 2-mile radius, so it's like the complex around the university. Okay. So basically, it's all happening in the same area. So, bro, Tuesday, hundreds and hundreds of students start leaving back home. They start checking out the campus.
I would have been gone too.
And the police called the FBI, and the National Guard for help. And so by Tuesday night, man, they had all kinds of military vehicles.
Just everywhere.
Helicopters circling the town. I mean, they are pushing it heavy, bro. And by the next day, it's crazy because before I say that, they have all these military vehicles. They have all these helicopters. And they mean business. And the town still is not going to be, like, to them, a lot of town members, when they were interviewing them for the news, they're like, I know we have all this military and stuff like that, but we still don't feel safe until an arrest is made.
Exactly.
And luckily, an arrest was made the next day.
After the third killing.
So check this out. After receiving dozens and dozens of tips about the same individual, police were able to arrest a 19-year-old named Ed Humphrey. They arrested him for domestic abuse because he punched his grandmother in the face.
What? So
they arrested him, and they set his bail at a whopping $1 million.
So they just thought they said, you know what? That's our guy. He's not getting out.
Yes, that was the exact reason, dog. They basically they can't charge him for the murders.
Right.
But they found we arrested him for domestic abuse, but we're looking at him to be the murderer.
So we're gonna put an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah, we're gonna put a crazy bail so that he can't bail out, and it worked. Of course, he didn't have the money to bail out. So, because what is it like? He would have to pay
10% to be
so it's $100,000,
right? Cash.
Yeah, so he didn't have it. So of course he's stuck in jail now.
Right.
So now they start doing a little bit of investigating. They start investigating, and they found a lot of reasons for why he might be the killer. people that they talked to said he had severe mental problems and that he hated women. And he always walked around with a big knife in his belt. And like all the time, bro. And at night, he would just walk through the forest at night, which would put him in the areas of where the attacks happened, because around where these areas happened, they were all separated by some forest, like within that 2-mile radius. They're closely by it, but they're also near a forest.
Okay.
So, yeah, it would put him in the areas where the attacks happened since they were all so close. Plus, bro, he just looked like a serial killer, dog. He looked like a serial killer.
Like,
but check this out. This is why I say that. Because, let me make sure I got this. He just looked like a serial killer. He had all these deep scars in his face, in his cheek. Like
he was scratched all over.
Like he was sliced open right here on his mouth and cheek and stuff. I mean, he just looked like a serial killer. He was also, his eyes, they described his eyes as being very hollow and
black.
Like he was always on drugs at all times. Like he just looked like something was wrong with him. And every time he was in court, like I guess during when they were trying to do some type of trial for him,
right.
he would look at the camera and just smile and wink at the camera. Like he was he was crazy.
So he was psychotic.
Yeah, he was crazy,
like a psychopath.
Man. And so they were like, man, we're sure we got our guy. You know, we're pretty sure. Well, here comes a stumbling block. They actually got the DNA back that they found on the crime scene, and they did find blood at each crime scene that belonged to the killer.
Oh, so, okay.
Yes. So the blood type that was found at every crime scene was type B. And when they tested Ed, he was type A.
Oh, so there's no way he could be,
They can't rule him out completely. It didn't clear him of guilt because they thought maybe he could have had help. Maybe another person or multiple people. But when the news broke, the town went back into a scared state.
Well, of course.
So, dog, this is where I start making connections about why this is connected to Scream. Because if you remember in the Scream movies, it was more than one killer.
Oh,
remember?
yeah, I mean... well, those 3 boys or whatever it was in the movie, you know.
You know, it was multiple killers, dog. So it's like, dog, I see where they're starting to make some comparison. Okay, so the FBI actually approached the police, and, you know, the FBI, you know, like I said, they're working together.
Right.
So they approach the police, and they give them access to something called VCAP system. It's a VCAP system. So basically that means... the VCAP system is the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program. It was a computer program that let investigators input details of the crime, and it would compare in a big database to other crimes all over the country.
All over the country, right.
And if any similarities in the crime were to match up, it would give you a match of similar crimes. So they input everything that they had, and it popped up a single match. It was an unsolved triple homicide in 1989 from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, not too far.
No, it's...
Well, I mean,
it's not far.
Louisiana and
Florida.
Georgia and Florida.
Yeah, it's not that far. It's a good distance.
It's probable, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. So, bro, Shreveport, Louisiana back in 1989 was literally considered one of the safest cities in America.
Shreveport.
Like, bro, people would leave their doors unlocked at night.
Well, in 1989, we all did.
Yeah, and then it said they would just leave their keys on the dash of their cars.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Like, they just, you know, nobody stole it, you know what I mean? But all that would change, man. On Friday, November 3rd, 1989, an 8-year-old Sean Grissom, Sean Grissom was dropped off at his grandpa's house to celebrate his birthday. His grandpa was a 56-year-old divorced man named Tom, who was close to retirement and was trying to spend a lot more time with his grandson. Also staying at that same house was Sean's aunt, 24-year-old Julie Grissom, who was attending Louisiana State University.
So this guy's targeting...
looks like he's targeting college women. While Sean was dropped off, he told his mom that when Sean got dropped off, Tom told his mom, hey, look, we'll have Sean back by Monday. We'll drop him off. And that day and the following day, she didn't hear from them. So, I guess back then it wasn't that uncommon to not hear from somebody.
Well, of course not, because we didn't make phone calls
like
we do now. You know, if I want to call you, I'll call you immediately.
Instant. Yeah, it's instant.
But if it can wait,
yeah, just wait.
Tomorrow, I'll call you tomorrow.
So she didn't hear from them, and so Sunday night she kind of called just to check on them, see how they were doing. They didn't pick up, so she was a little worried, but thought I'm gonna see them in the morning anyways, and because Tom had to drop Sean off before school so that she would have time to take him to school.
Right.
Well, the next morning they didn't show up. So she's like in her head, I guess because people rationalize. Well, maybe it could be this, maybe this.
Well, I mean,
they don't want to jump to the worst.
That's the simplest form, yeah.
Right. They don't want to jump to the worst.
Maybe they overslept, or maybe they stopped somewhere before they get here.
Exactly.
You know.
And in her mind, she thought, well, maybe her dad took him to school.
Right.
You know, maybe he just dropped him off to school, so I didn't have to worry about it. So she called the school, and the school said that no, they hadn't heard or seen him, and they hadn't talked to the grandpa. So immediately she called the police, and they got in touch with a neighbor of Tom, which this right here didn't make sense. But they got in touch with a neighbor, the police did, of Tom, and asked, would y'all please go check and make sure they're okay? Which that doesn't, when I was doing my research.
Well, hold on, nephew. You know, do you know your neighbors?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you know their numbers?
No, that I don't. Well, okay. I know one of them.
Well, yeah, because he's a cool cat. But back then, people that lived in our block, we knew them. We knew numbers. So it makes more sense back then. Hey, you know what? Javi doesn't answer his phone. Will you go check on him real quick? You know,
right?
That was more common back in the 70s and 80s, man.
Yeah, seeing you, that's why, because you were
I was around. Already, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you would have more knowledge on that,
right?
Because when I was doing my research, I'm like, why would the police send?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for them to go, because obviously they're not thinking there's crimes being committed. Maybe they're just doing. You know what? Hey, will you go next door or not?
Ah, okay.
You know,
that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Because they go knock, boom, boom, boom. Hey, no answer. Hey, officer, he doesn't answer. I looked in the windows. I don't see nothing missing. They leave it alone for another 24 hours, because that's. You hear that in all crime stories.
Yeah, you gotta wait
24 hours, you know, which is kind of insane, but hey, that's the way it is.
I guess that does make sense. So, I guess because of that, the neighbors went out to go check. Well, on their way to the of course, walking next door,
right?
Just visually observing, they see that the car looks like it hasn't left since Friday. So they thought that was odd. But
it's kind of crazy to me, because, I mean, just because the car hasn't moved, how do you know how long it hasn't been moved?
Right.
Anyways, go ahead.
I thought that was crazy, too. But then, man, they noticed that the newspaper was at the end of the driveway. It was Sundays and it was Mondays, which that for sure was odd, because
most definitely
they knew Tom was a avid newspaper reader. He would read it every morning.
Yeah.
And so when they saw the paper sitting there, they said, well, that's odd. So they start knocking. There's no answer. So they kind of go around to the back of the house, and they were able to get in through the garage. And that garage door led to a door that opened up to the main part of the house. And when they opened the door, they see Tom laying on the floor. Obviously, he's deceased by the back door, and he looks like he's been stabbed to death. So they immediately call the police, and when the police arrive, they do find Tom stabbed to death by the back of the door. They find Sean, the 8-year-old. He's slouched over on the couch in front of the TV, and he was stabbed to death as well.
Oh, my goodness, dog.
Then they go upstairs, and they find Julie upstairs on the edge of her bed, naked, stabbed to death, and she's been placed in a sexually suggestive way. And it was determined that she was sexually assaulted and before she was killed. And it looks like her body was covered in vinegar, like if whoever killed her tried to clean her body with vinegar. So it didn't look like there was no robbery, no forced entry, nothing was missing. So the police in Gainesville are amazed at the similarities, bro. They're like, it's crazy that how the women are placed and all that. So there's so many similarities.
The only thing that you didn't mention was the tape on the wrists.
Yeah. That's the only thing that wasn't the. Oh no, they did. I did. Yeah, they did find duct tape residue on her wrist as well. So there was so many similarities, man, and so somehow, man, the police. Like the info of what the police found out got leaked to the news and the media, and they started airing news about the similarities in the killings from Shreveport, and the police got mad, man, because they believed that this would mess up their investigation.
Yeah, there's some things you don't want to put out there, you know.
Yeah, and they believed that they were going to jeopardize the investigation, and the killer would benefit from knowing what the police had found out. But this turns out to be a blessing in disguise for them.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's gonna change his MO.
Oh, man, I almost scrolled past that. Yeah, man. So yeah, they're like, man, this might jeopardize the investigation, and so a woman living in Shreveport named Cindy actually saw the news and called in a tip that they should really look at a man named Danny Rowland. So Danny Rolling I said Rolling. It's Danny Rolling.
Rolling, okay.
It's spelled Rolling, but
They
his
call
name
it Rolling.
Rolling, yeah. So Danny Rolling was a 37-year-old drifter who was living in Shreveport during the time of the Grissom family murders. Cindy told the police that one time Danny had told her husband that he had a problem, that he loved to stab people. And he was known to carry this big knife on his belt, and people said he was completely mentally unstable. So after Danny told them about his obsession, they told Danny to please stay away from them.
Why not go to the law?
Probably just because he was just crazy. So
Right.
they're just thinking he's just crazy, but they don't want to deal with that. So they told Danny to please stay away from them. But in their last conversation, Danny told them that he was going to move somewhere where there's tons of beautiful women he could look at all day.
Why not better than Gainesville?
So police started looking at Danny and did some digging. They found out that he grew up in a very abusive home, and that when he was old enough, he joined the Air Force, but he was kicked out in 2 years for being mentally unstable. And so when he got kicked out, he started a string of robberies in the 1980s. He eventually got caught, so he spent the bulk of his 80s in prison. The 1980s.
Right.
He spent the bulk of it in prison, and when he got out in 1989, he had to move back in with his parents, which was about a half a mile away from the Grissom's house. And this was not a good homecoming, dog. Like, Danny didn't like his dad. His dad hated him, and they didn't want him back home. And so one day, Danny and his father get into a super bad argument. Danny's dad actually pulls a gun out on him and says that he has to leave. So Danny runs out to his car, grabs his gun, goes in and shoots his father once right in the forehead, in the middle of his eyes, and then shoots him in his stomach. Amazingly, he survived.
Wow.
He had, some injuries to his head, but, he survived. And so when he finally got up, he told the police that it was Danny who shot him.
Right.
So they put out a warrant for his arrest, and when they went to arrest him, they couldn't find him.
Right.
So while they were researching Danny, dude, this is what's crazy, dog. Here's a crazy twist.
Here we go.
While they were researching Danny, one of the officers, while they're looking there, just kind of looks around at all the police officers and says, "Hold on. There was an unsolved bank robbery that happened around the same time as the Gainesville murders." And they start kind of remembering, man, it was a masked man, ran in, demanded money. The teller, thinking fast on the feet, filled it with dummy packs.
Right.
With the ink packs.
With the ink packs.
So he takes off. They actually followed him into the woods and found a campsite. And at that campsite, there was the duffel bag with the exploded money. It looked like he tried to mess with it, and it went off.
Yep.
And he just left it there. So at that campsite, they also found a screwdriver, a gun, and an audio recorder. And so they just pushed it to the side, bro, because in the police's mind, they're like, man, these murders are way more important than this unsolved bank murder. Unsolved bank robbery. So they're so focused on this murder
that they missed the screwdriver.
No, they didn't miss it. They just put it in evidence and then locked it away and said, we'll deal with that when we can get to it, because they just seemed it as a minor. They didn't catch them and it was just a robbery.
Right.
So they're like, and they had the money. So they just pushed it to the side. They didn't really.
Oh, so they didn't know about him.
No, they didn't know who it was.
They didn't know who he was.
Yeah, well, they still don't know who the killer is.
No, but I'm saying the guy with the robbed the bank.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They just found his stuff.
Okay. Oh, they don't know who that is.
Yeah. No, they don't know who he was.
Okay.
There was no identification. They just
right.
found the money. They found a screwdriver, a gun, and a tape recorder.
Okay.
And they didn't listen to the tape recorder. They just, you know what I mean? They, in their eyes, they're like, man, we'll deal with this when we get to it. Right now, we're worried about these murders. And so the cop starts telling them, hey, man, what if it's connected? What if it was the same guy? And they're like, we didn't even listen to the tape recorder. So they go and they get all the stuff out of storage. And they listen to the tape recording. And they hear a man singing a song about being a mystery killer. And then he starts to talk about how to effectively kill a deer with a knife. And he's going into great graphic detail on how to kill a deer and, using a knife. And he goes into great detail. And then he, at the end, says that it was Danny Rolling signing off. And so that was his stuff. So, bro, the screwdriver also matched the markings that they found. And they did some researching on his blood type, and they were able to pull his blood type from one of the, I don't know where it said. I don't know if it was from a blood bank or somewhere. They pulled his blood type, and it was type B.
Probably from prison.
and they matched his blood type. So his blood type also matches the killer's blood type. And so, dude, it is so crazy because when they go to try to arrest him, turns out he was already in jail for another armed robbery 40 minutes away from Gainesville.
Okay.
So Danny was charged for the 3 murders. He denied having anything to do with the murders, but 4 years later, when his trial was set to start, he got up, he took the stand and said he wanted to change his plea to guilty.
For the 3 murders in Shreveport?
Yeah. No, for the girls.
For the girls in Gainesville?
Yeah.
Not Shreveport?
Yeah, not Shreveport. So he changed his plea, and he changed it to guilty. He said he wanted to do it, and while he was in prison, he finally admitted to all 8 of the murders. He admitted to all of them. And he said, when asking him, man, why did you want to do this for? Like, why did you do this? He said he wanted to be a superstar killer like his idol, Ted Bundy. He said that was his idol, and he wanted to be just like him, and he wanted to be a superstar. And so, dude, while he's in prison, they start getting testimony out of him, and they start seeing
little by little he
did kill all of them, bro. So on November 3rd, he got fired from his job, and he was walking around, and he decided, man, I want to kill somebody to let out all this aggression, which led him to the Grissom's house. He sees the Grissom's house, and he walked in. And this is what he was telling the investigators, that he walked into the home. Of course, it's unlocked. So they're getting ready for Sean Grissom, the 8-year-old boy's birthday.
Yeah.
So the grandpa's in the kitchen, messing with the meat, taking it out back and forth to the grill.
Right.
And Sean's watching TV on the couch, and he walks in with his knife. He sees Sean watching TV, and he stabs him in his back, killing him instantly. And he just,
fucking cold.
Kills this kid. So he walks into the kitchen, and I think on one of the encounters, the grandpa's walking back in and sees him, and there's a fight, and of course the grandpa loses, and he kills him. He then goes upstairs, and Julie, who was getting ready for a wedding that night, just got out of the shower. Well, when she sees him, of course, he pulls his gun out, tells her that I just killed your whole family downstairs, and if you do anything, I'm going to kill you too. So he tapes up her wrists and sexually assaults her and then stabs her to death. And so he admits to that one. It's crazy, dog, because being on the run from those killings he did in Shreveport, he leaves to Florida. He sets up a campsite in the forest between all these universities and stuff. And his first murders with Christine and Sonia, he talks about how he went into that complex and found Christine watching TV. And yeah, man, he pulled his gun out, of course, taped her up, sexually assaulted her, and stabbed her to death. Then I guess he went into the room. He didn't sexually assault Sonia. He just killed her and took off her clothes and put them all in suggestive poses.
Did he show any kind of remorse? That's why he was taking the tape off, or
no,
trying to clean him up, or he's just trying to hide the evidence of himself?
I think he was just trying to hide the evidence, dog. That's all it was.
Okay.
And on the second murders that he had committed after the Christine and Sonia, well, technically it's his third murder. He went into that girl's apartment, Christine, and no, not Christine, the other girl. Her name was Christy. Yeah. Christy. So after he killed Christine and Sonia, he went back to the campsite for about 8 hours, and he couldn't help himself, man. He was so pumped up from the kill.
So he had the urge.
He was so pumped up to kill that night he couldn't take it no more. So he went to a girl that he saw running on the trail.
Okay.
He went to an apartment complex that she was staying at, and he snuck in, and nobody was in the house. She wasn't there. So instead of leaving, he hid in a closet. He hid in the closet until she got home. And once she got home, he jumped out, and there was a struggle, and eventually he overtook her, and he tied her up, sexually assaulted her, stabbed her to death, and then he left her there. So he goes back to his campsite, and when he got to his campsite, he realized, oh damn, I dropped my wallet in the altercation.
Oh shit!
He's like, no problem, I'll just walk back and go get it.
Like nothing.
So he goes back into the apartment complex, goes into her apartment, gets his wallet, and then while he's there, he's looking at the body and like, I should mutilate the body. So he takes his knife and he cuts her head off. and then he takes her head and sets it up on the shelf, and he just makes it look. He places it in a way to where it's looking down at her body. So it's looking down. In his mind, he was like, he thought that it'd be funny if her decapitated head would be looking at her own body dead. And so he positioned her head to look at her own body.
Wow.
And then set her body up in a sexually suggested way, and then he left again.
Wow.
And so, dude, that night, you know, and then the next day, on his third murder with Tracy and Manny, man, he breaks into their house. He can, right where his campsite's at, he can see a complex, and he sees one. He just kind of picking them.
Right.
He's like,
he's not random. He didn't choose these people.
Yeah. He was just like at random. He's just looking, and he's like, I'm gonna go to that one where he sees a girl inside the window. So he goes into that complex, man, and I guess the girl was in the shower. So when he gets in, he didn't expect nobody else to be in that house with her. Well, Manny was in there. They get into a fight, man, an altercation.
So this guy must be pretty strong.
Yeah, he's pretty strong, man. Pretty strong dude. He was in his 30s, and I guess these kids are, 20.
Well, Manny was in his
19,
early 20s, probably.
They're young, man. So they get into an altercation, and eventually he overpowers Manny. He stabs him to death, and of course, just leaves him right there where he killed him. So all their commotion is going on.
She comes out.
She hears all that commotion. Tracy jumps out, and she's like, "What's going on?" When she gets there, she sees Danny on top of Manny, stabbing him to death. And she gets scared and runs to her room and locks the door. So he gets up.
Instead of running out the door.
Yeah, exactly. He gets up and goes to the door and starts kicking it until he breaks in. And then he goes in there and does what he does to her, sexually assaults her, and then, stabs her to death. And so, dude, it's crazy, man. On October 26th, I think it was 2006, Danny was finally killed by lethal injection because they gave him the death penalty. Him the death penalty
for all those murders.
They gave him the death penalty. But the thing was,
but in Georgia, or I mean, not in Louisiana or Florida?
In Florida. So at his lethal, you know how you can go watch somebody get lethal, especially like if it's a family.
Yeah, not anybody
he
can
killed.
Go,
yeah. What I'm saying, the family can go watch the person die. You know what I mean? And at his lethal injection, at his death, he offered no words of remorse to any of the families. The only thing he had was a spiritual hymn that he sung to himself, and then he died. And dude, while in prison, Danny Rowland had told the police that Ed Humphrey had nothing to do with it, and he was eventually released after 10 months of being in prison. The first guy with the scars and stuff. And so finally, the saga had ended. He died. They released Ed Humphrey, and man, that was it. The Gainesville Reaper was forever solidified in the serial killer history. And a little bit later, man, turns out the people who made the Scream movies were intrigued by this
by what he was doing,
and it inspired them to make the Scream movie.
Of course, it's a little different.
Of course, it's a little different, but it's the kids in school. I mean, it's
he's already inside, and some of them,
Yeah, you know what I mean.
What he done?
Serial killer, dog, breaking in and killing people, bro.
That's crazy, dude. That was a good one, man. For some reason, I haven't heard of that one before. I tell you find stuff out. There's so many out there, that you find stuff that I've never heard of. I've listened to a lot of stories, man, and that one's just one of the same ones. I mean, those ones I've never heard, but it's a good story. I mean,
it's
I don't want to say a good story.
Man.
It's interesting because how many serial killers out there that have yet to be caught?
Right, exactly.
I was listening to one this morning, and how many women are out there that are missing, or skeletal remains have been found? How many Jane Does are out there?
Right.
And their killer hasn't been caught. Are they serial killers, or was it a one-time event for this person?
Exactly, bro.
Especially the indigenous people, man. I mean, I keep saying this: indigenous are the ones that they don't look for them, man.
Yeah, it seems like they're the less looked into.
Especially if they're homeless or they're working the streets. They're nobody. Yeah, and they are somebody. Every person that has a soul is a somebody. Yeah, and it's just insane.
It's wild, dog. And to me, it's like it's crazy to see that like with any serial killer, Ted Bundy, whether it be what's his name, the other one that was famous in the 70s, not Ted, with the glasses and stuff. What's that dude? Jeffrey Dahmer.
Dahmer.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer and people like that, dog. How it's just it's interesting how
Alcala was a crazy killer.
Yeah,
man,
it's crazy to see. Like, man, what is in these people's minds? What makes them different than the average human? Like, you get what I'm saying? I say the same thing about people who are in the cartel killings or anything killer.
Right. But like you said, serial killers, man, I mean, they've done intensive research, man, and I was talking about the frontal lobe or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's just in you.
Yeah.
And the signs are there that people don't realize, when the parents, I never harmed an animal as a kid. Yeah. And I've seen people that, would kill dogs and cats and feed them, feed cats to the dogs, That's cruelty. So once you're at an age of 8, 9, 10, 11 years old doing stuff like that, these people need to start being looked at.
Yeah, like what's wrong
That's
with
what I
people?
think. I mean, I'm no scientist or psychologist, yeah. But I mean,
that's my thing.
That's how I see it, man. These guys, the whole, I know a lot of it has to do with their upbringing. When they have a lot of domestic violence in their homes. Yeah. They're being taught violence and violence. Yeah. And I understand when somebody loses it, they lose it. I saw a case where this brother killed his own brother, actually dismantled his ass, dismembered him because he molested his niece, his daughter.
Okay.
And the brother just, when she got home, I don't know how old she was, maybe 8 years old, and she was going to take a shower and she had blood on her underwear, and the dad asked her what happened, and she said that it was my uncle. And he went and he got life. They gave him life, dude. That's insane. Yeah, I'm not saying murder is justifiable.
Yeah.
To me, that was justifiable.
Yeah, like
touch my kids.
Yeah, see, that's
I might hurt somebody.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a serial killer.
No, but see, that's the thing, though.
And I'm not justifying murder. Don't get me wrong.
So that's the thing. Most humans you can perceive to kill somebody in if necessary, like in the sense of like, man, if somebody messed with my kids like that, touched them inappropriately,
break in,
or if somebody broke in, and it's for protection, like, bro, the average person could be like, I could kill somebody.
How many times have you said I killed that son bitch, whatever, but not actually meaning it.
But you wouldn't actually go out your way to be like, you know what, like that dude, he's sitting in his campsite and he's like, man, I need to kill somebody. You got the urge to murder somebody.
Kill a deer.
Like, bro, but like even like that though, dog, like who has the urge to kill like that? Like, man, I want to kill somebody bad. Like, ain't no way, dog.
I've never been that angry in my life.
I ain't never.
What did you tell me a while back? I've never seen you angry. I don't.
Yeah, like get pissed off like that.
It takes me.
Hey, just a chill guy. Yeah.
I'm just a chill dude, Holmes. But
it intrigues me.
That's a lot,
and I think that's why a lot of people love true crime, because it just intrigues you, because us as regular, normal, everyday humans don't think like that.
Right.
We don't have the urge to kill
never have
and like, bro, he went in there and was like, yeah, I think I want to decapitate her body and set it up looking at her. Like, bro, who thinks like that,
exactly.
bro?
There's so many people that think different than we do. Doesn't make them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, and it's one thing to think differently or
being a psychopath.
Yeah,
makes you think like that. Yeah, you're
psychotic, bro.
Well, I think I love little kids.
What did he say?
The fuck?
How, dude? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's the minds of these people. It's interesting to look into, because you're like, what makes them this way? And like you said, a lot of it is like Danny Rollin. He grew up in a home where he was abused every day. His dad would beat him. Does that alone transform your mind into a killing machine?
And that's a double-edged sword, nephew, because there's two ways to look at that. He's either going to be violent, or he's going to say, I want to get out of this situation and make a better life. Such as the street guys.
Right.
When you hear all the time, these guys growing up in the street. One of them makes it to the NBA or NFL,
and one stays in the streets,
and the other ones become killers, gangsters gangbangers, whatever.
Facts.
Because
it's all a choice.
It's a choice, and they're like, I don't think I can make it in the NFL, but yet you're not trying. You'd rather go smoke, do drugs, rob,
right. I see what you're saying. I guess it's all a choice of, and I always think to myself, like when researching these stories, of course I'm reading into so many different articles and everything's real graphic. So in my mind, in my head, as I'm researching these stories, I'm kind of like trying to see, man, what is his reasoning?
Put yourself in his shoes,
you know what I mean? Like
not literally,
but I'm trying to understand him. Like, why is he doing this? What is his motive? But like this guy, bro, he just literally has no motive. Like he's just killing. He said his motive was to be like his idol, and he's idolizing another serial killer.
That's insane. Somebody's like, well, shit, Dahmer. He ate people. Yeah,
I'm trying to eat as many people as Dahmer did. Like,
I've never
crazy.
had the urge to taste human flesh. It would take something that outrageous for me, being shipwrecked,
like for survival based. Like say you crash in a plane crash and you survive and somebody doesn't.
It's been a month, 2 months, and
you ain't ate,
and there's nothing around, and
I see what you're saying.
You got a lot of fat on your nephew, so
so I wouldn't be a good choice.
I don't know, dog. I mean,
you got a lot of fat, dog. Pure fat.
But I don't know how many books are out there been written, and studies, into the minds of these people,
the minds of the serial killers.
What's that show? Mindhunter. Dude, you gotta watch Mindhunter.
Yeah,
this dude is Grisham, I think, is who wrote this book. It's just crazy, man. Because like BAU or an FBI agent.
Right.
You literally have to put yourself in the killer's shoes
to try
to figure out why or when he's going to strike again.
So you're kind of like making yourself think like him. To see what would his next move be. You
got to be so. You've got to do so much. We research, and this is the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
These people have to research.
They're researching his childhood. They're researching
from the day one to say, what's his next move?
Exactly. Yeah, that's wild, dog. That's pretty cool. Yeah. The more I'm doing research, the more I'm enjoying doing this type of stuff.
We talk about private eyes and stuff like that, man. And in reality, we could. It just takes a lot of practice and know-how and put in your mind and say, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a young buck, dog. You can still do stuff like that.
For sure.
Not saying that I can't. I'm hoping I have more than 10 years left in my life.
That's what my dad says. I'm like, man, pops.
My dad's already finna be 80, so I'm hoping I hit to be 80.
You in the game.
Yeah. So but. It's exciting, man. And
it is exciting.
True crime is very, very exciting. It's just also a very, very emotional.
Yeah, it is
especially
emotional.
when it comes to kids.
Yeah, for sure.
For an 8-year-old, to kill an 8-year-old child,
that's
defenseless,
wild,
who will maybe ID you, but will never be able to harm you.
Bro, that's just
will never be able to fight back.
It's crazy, dog. I don't understand it. But that's
why that's cowardly for me, dude.
Oh yeah, bro. Facts. But that's why we do what we do to research, because we're trying to get some type of understanding. Like you said, it is interesting. The content's interesting. Interesting.
Right.
Because, like we said, it's not something that we think about on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So hearing about it from another person's perspective is like, wow, that's crazy. It's a mind blower.
It is a mind blower, man.
But this is
it makes us want. Sometimes I'm like, man, put me in a cell with this dude.
Well, you know what it is, Unc? This is what I think, dog. I think what it is that us as humans, we have this need to have understanding and sympathy. Like, not everybody, but for the most part, we want to understand why somebody thinks the way they think.
Right.
And when we hear people who do something so extreme, you're like, man, what do you what in your mind made you think that way? So I think that's why true crime is so popular.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to understand the minds of these people,
and
I don't think we ever truly will.
Anything pretty much, man. I mean, being a golfer, I played golf for a long time. I would watch these, Tiger Woods, Davis Love. I would watch all these guys. I'm like, how do they think and what do they do in order to maintain, to be the professionalism, And I say golf because in sports, like football, as long as you can perform, I'm not saying anybody can be an NFL athlete, they can't. But to be a golfer is just dedication.
There's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah, and being a freaking serial killer, I would say takes dedication because your mind has, not only are you a psychopath, you also have got to have some kind of genius in you in order to keep doing this without getting caught.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's harder now these days with how much we are advanced with.
In 1989 when they had the blood and I'm sure they had the DNA, but they didn't have the ways to extract it or whatever. Yeah. So that's why it took a little bit longer. Yeah, exactly. Nowadays DNA is, right here. I done touched it.
Yeah,
they got DNA.
Yeah, bro, you leave DNA on, bro. I seen how they do it, bro. They'll get DNA off of pieces of tape in the trash can, that you won't even realize you touched something sticky, and it left your fingerprint. Bro, it is crazy, how they.
So I mean, I'm not saying it's we're not going to have serial killers.
Yeah, it's still possible.
It's going to be a lot easier to catch, but you are got some people who are.
That's why
I don't want to say geniuses, man, but they're smarter than the average person, I would think.
Well, in a sense, you're kind of right because most people who are serial killers, like the famous ones, were always really smart people. Like
Dahmer wasn't dumb.
Yeah, they knew how to.
Ted Bundy, come on, man, he was a romantic.
Dog, they know how to play. They know how to play their cards.
Man, he knew what he was doing. To where people were like, nah, he didn't do it, man. I seen him with her, but
that's why someone be like, man, I couldn't even see him as a serial killer.
Exactly.
He is.
He's one of the biggest.
That's why, like earlier, that dude with Ed Humphrey.
Yeah.
He looked like he should be a serial killer.
They said he looked like it. I mean,
but he was just a dude with anger issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're scarred in the face, you're gonna have anger issues, dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
I got 3 puntos and I got anger. I'm just playing.
But dog, that's why we profile people like him, like Ed Humphrey. He looks like he should be a serial killer, and then Danny Rollins looks like this average 37-year-old man.
Yeah.
But this dude is a
notorious killer,
freaking serial killer. Yeah. And Ed Humphrey, I mean, he
is somebody who's going.
He's just mentally unstable, and I mean, he punched his grandma in the face, but he's not out here slaying, and murdering
he's a
people.
Domestic violence person. You're right. And it also goes back to being, like these unlawful officers profiling Hispanics or blacks or
that's why you literally bro. I guess we always get back to you can't judge a book by the cover is one of the most truest statements ever.
It is, man. I mean,
you can't just
looking
look at
me.
Somebody.
People say, man, killer. I'm not.
Hell no.
I'm one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, dog.
I look at you and be like, damn, that's a nice man.
No, he be like, did he take Dayquil and NyQuil?
Oh man,
but you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I get what you're saying. I mean, that's a good story, man. And like I said, it did inspire the Scream series, is what
that's crazy.
I was reading about.
Yeah, because they made a new Scream, right?
Yeah, they're making a new one, I think. Or no, they have new ones they just made. I heard they're making another one this year.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I know they're making another.
I like them, man.
Final Destination's coming out with
another one, right? Dude, those are my favorite, dog.
Yeah, mine too. Well, man, before we go on, because it's already hitting that point, man.
All right.
Let's do our segment, man. I got a good segment for you.
What pisses you off?
Things that piss me off, because it just happened to me yesterday. So
okay.
Let's do today's segment. Things that piss me off. No, it's not a drive-through, bro.
Okay.
So me and
don't tell me it was Sunday night.
When?
With the chicken.
Oh man, dog, that did piss me off. But that's not what I'm talking about today. But that did piss me off, dog. KFC count your days, brother.
You ain't lying.
Chick-fil-A open. Let's see what
In
happens.
less than a month.
Have you ever seen Good Burger?
Yeah.
Okay, you ever see that scene where he's
Good
like,
burger.
yeah,
Good burger.
you ever see that part where he's like, I can't wait till Mondo Burger opens. That's how I can't wait till Chick-fil-A opens. Man, that pissed me off. But anyways, no, man, one of the things that pisses me off so bad, dog. You ever been at a stoplight, right? And you like the first in line.
Yeah.
And you just there waiting.
Like a 4-way or just a regular stoplight?
Just a regular stoplight, man. You just
and it's red.
It's red, and you're waiting, you know. Then it turns green, and as soon as it turns green, beep. Hey, dog, dude, it happened to me.
I know.
Bitch, I know it's green. Yeah, goddamn.
They want like they in a hurry.
Yeah, like, and if you're late, that's your fault. You should have left the house earlier, right. Man. I sat there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wait until it turned yellow and then take off?
No, I didn't, because my wife was like, go, man.
Yeah, I would have waited till it turned yellow, almost ready, and then took off.
I said, yeah, we're going to wait today, brother. Man, dog, if the light just turns green.
I understand that too, nephew, but road rage is a thing nowadays, man.
Hell yeah. I be telling my dad, because my dad got road rage. Man, my dad got this thing where he won't let nobody pass him, dog. He'll go 150 if he have to, dog.
I'm just a chill guy, though.
That's me, man. I be rolling. Man, dog. But no, it's just because, like, bro, you had a light and it just turned green. I understand if it's green and somebody's on their phone. Because that does piss me off, too. Like, bro, get off your phone. Yeah. No, like, but if it just turned green, beep, hey, man, I want to get out the car. Like, brother, what is your problem?
But nowadays, dog, Texas.
Man, shit. Hey, and it's crazy because, dog, you got to think, bro. I can't tell you how many times, and it always happens at that light over there by McDonald's. Over there, the light turned green, but there's still a car busting that red light last minute. Imagine if I take right off. That's why I keep telling my woman. She be like, it's green. I'm like, well, you gotta wait a second, because, dog, if there's a car speeding and they hit you from the side, bro, they can be going fast because they're trying to beat the red light, and it's yellow, and they're going 60 through there.
And you take off right away?
And you pull off right away? Man, hell no. But yeah, that pisses me off, dog. Quit being so damn in a hurry all the time. Yeah. Man, wait a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's the way it is now, though. Everybody's in a hurry, man. Everybody's in a hurry. But not me. I'm just a chill guy.
I'm just a chill guy, yeah. Oh, man. You got any final words before we sign off?
Hey, stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm, my people.
Stay warm, people, especially if you're you're in West Texas, minus 3 degrees this morning.
Yeah, we ain't used to this.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm tropical, dog. 80 and above, I can handle all year round.
Man, yeah, we see some hot temperatures. I'm not used to this cold, dog.
Man, it was so cold today.
Well, man, thank y'all for sticking around for another episode of Late Night Conversations with Uncle Nephew, man. Until next week, y'all.
Enjoy it. Peace.